Kamala Harris is writing a book, or perhaps has written a book, called 107 Days, in which she talks about her super duper short presidential campaign. We don't like Kamala Harris around here, obviously, but there are some interesting excerpts that have been released ahead of time, no doubt to foster attention and controversy. Not surprising there. Really, really, really like the picture they've chosen here, by the way, for the cover, or at least for the article that they wrote at The Atlantic, in light of the contents of the article. Exclusive. Joe Biden's decision to run for re-election in 2024, quote, wasn't a choice that should have been left to an individual's ego, an individual's ambition, end quote, Kamala Harris writes in her forthcoming memoir. Really? Do you think that? She is finally shit-talking Biden. She is finally turning her back on Biden. Way too late, so no points for it. Sorry, but it's finally happening. Worse, I often learned that the president's staff was adding fuel to negative narratives that sprang up around me. One narrative that took a stubborn hold was that I held a chaotic office and unusually high staff turnover during my first year. Joe was already pulling badly on the age issue, with roughly 75% of voters saying he was too old to be an effective president. Then he started taking on water for his perceived blank check to Benjamin Netanyahu in Gaza. When polls indicated I was getting more popular, the people around him didn't like the contrast that was emerging. Some people have been shot when they swarmed a food truck, and I spoke of families reduced to eating leaves or animal feed, women prematurely giving birth with little to no medical care, and children dying from malnutrition and dehydration. I reiterated my strong support for Israel's security and called on Hamas to release the hostages and accept the ceasefire agreement then on the table. I also called on Israel for greater access to aid. It was a speech that had been vetted and approved by the White House and the National Security Council. It went viral, and the West Wing was displeased. I was castigated for apparently delivering it too well. Their thinking was zero-sum. If she's shining, he's dimmed. None of them grasped that if I did well, he did well. That given the concerns about his age, my visible success as his VP was vital. It would serve as a testament to his judgment in choosing me and reassurance that if something happened, the country was in good hands. My success was important for him. His team didn't get it. Essentially, Biden's team of insiders and staffers actively worked to sabotage Kamala Harris's popularity because their only goal was continuing to suck up to Biden and feed his ego. Now, to be clear, Kamala Harris, none of this is meant to in any way vindicate her. She remains every single negative thing that I have described her to be. But apparently, like, the degree of self-sabotage was way more systematic and way more extensive than people thought. Like, the Democratic Party genuinely let Biden's ego tank the 2024 election. It's insane. It's unbelievable. Now, Kamala Harris is just complicit for allowing this to happen, remaining a coward and not speaking out the entire time. When Fox News attacked me on everything from my laugh to my tone of voice to whom I dated in my 20s or claimed I was a DEI hire, the White House rarely pushed back with my actual resume. Lorraine Voles, my chief of staff, constantly had to advocate for my role at events. She's not going to stand there like a potted plant, give her 2 minutes of remarks, have her introduce the president. They had a huge comms team. They had Karine Jean-Pierre briefing in the press room every day, but getting anything positive said about my work or any defense against untrue attacks was almost impossible. Now, I don't necessarily agree with her framing here for a variety of reasons, but like it does seem like, you know how we criticize the Democrats for operating as a kind of pension plan for their oldest members? It's her turn, it's his turn, etc. They did the same thing with the House Oversight Committee, where AOC, who is much more popular, was passed over for that cancer-ridden dipshit who died 2 days later because he was older, because he'd been waiting for longer. Who'd been waiting for longer than Joe Biden, man? Joe Biden's been in politics since the 1960s or whatever. It was his turn. That's what we're dealing with here. It's just as self-serving as anything the Trump administration's done. At least the Trump administration does it in like an openly, obviously corrupt way. You know, Trump coin, not divesting from his industries, open corruption, Qatar gifts a jet, whatever else. With Biden, it was all just an ego trip. He sacrificed the party and the country in a doomed 2024 election bid for no reason other than because he felt like it was his turn to have 2 presidential terms. Biden was actual DEI? Not a joke, he actually was. Isn't that insane? It's nice that she's finally throwing him under the bus. But yeah, no, like the fact that Kamala Harris was not willing to speak about any of this at any point during her campaign or any time leading up to the 2024 election is inexcusable. Like, how can she be trusted to represent the American people if she's willing to be party to and witness that level of corruption and egotism at the expense of the country without saying anything? Like, if you're the kind of person who will just meekly sit on the sidelines and let all of that happen, then obviously you can't be a good president. Like, you're part of the problem. I was the first vice president to have a dedicated press pool tracking my every public move. Before me, vice presidents had what's called a supplemental pool, as the First Lady does, covering important events. Because of this constant attention, things that had never been especially newsworthy about the VP were suddenly reported and scrutinized. And when the stories were unfair or inaccurate, the president's inner circle seemed fine with it. Indeed, it seemed as if they decided I should be knocked down a little more. The VP should take on irregular migration. When Republicans mischaracterized my role as border czar, no one in the White House comms team helped me to effectively push back and explain what I had really been tasked to do, nor to highlight any of the progress I had achieved. So this, to me, enormous cuckold shit. You would not see a Republican talking this way. Like, this is a fault on the part of the Biden White House, but at the same time, you are the vice president. You have so much power. You can call press conferences. You can say whatever you want into the microphone. You have an unbelievable amount of power. You can go do press appearances. Like, J.D. Vance is out there doing shit constantly, probably in large part because, you know, Trump is a stroked out puddle of soup in a bowl. But also because he's, you know, a loudmouth. He has the ability to do these things. The president can't stop the VP from doing these. Everyone understands that, right? The president isn't literally the vice president's boss in that way. Like, the vice president can talk to people and make appearances and so on of their own volition. It was her willingness to be complicit here that was the problem. I won commitments of $5.2 billion in new investments by private companies for the region. I already seen almost $1 billion of that money deployed, thanks to enthusiastic partners such as MasterCard, Microsoft, and Nespresso. Thanks, lady. Thanks, lady. The idea I kept hearing growing up was the VP was a nobody job with no power. The VP does not have many official roles or expectations, but unofficially, they have the power of the pulpit, which Biden was historically bad at using, and frankly, so was Kamala Harris. The VP has the ability to go out there and talk, which is the main power a politician has. That's the main thing they do. Don't they preside over the Senate? Yeah, but that shit's not. That's not as important as the pulpit. There are more important things that they do. Axios got a response from the Biden camp. They're livid, apparently. Really? Former Biden aides reacted with rage to an excerpt from Kamala Harris's upcoming book. She had basically zero substantive role in any of the administration's key work streams, and instead would just dive bomb in for stilted photo ops. Oh, they're fucking mad. You bet they'd be mad at Kamala Harris for appearing for photo ops, considering how averse they were to letting Biden appear in front of a camera ever. The release of the excerpt from her book, 107 Days, due out September 23rd, has exposed years of hurt feelings and frustrations. VP Harris was simply not good at the job, said one former Biden White House official. Oh my God. They're really fighting. They really kept a lid on it. Because they're so dickless, man. Democrats don't want to be politicians. They want to be bureaucrats. Oh my fucking God. I'm not sure the very robust defense of not having the courage to speak up in the moment about Biden running is quite as persuasive as she thinks it is. If this is her attempt at political absolution, lots of luck in your senior year. Oh, shit! Oh! Actual banger! Oh my God! Jesus! Said one former Biden aide, a nod to a longtime Biden saying. The same aide, referring to Harris's duties in trying to reduce unauthorized migration, argued, on the border stuff in particular, I'd also say if she had spent a fraction of the time and energy doing the work she did on complaining about how she was perceived, she would have been perceived a whole lot better. Jesus fucking Christ. The drama really hits different when you hate both groups. Yup. Two bad bitches, except in the opposite direction. The only silver lining is this might kill her chances as governor. She said she's not running for governor. I think she does want to run for president again. I hope this kills her chances, yeah. I don't want to see her, Newsom, Buttigieg. I don't want to see fucking Cooper. I don't want to see any of these people up there. I know I will, but I don't want to. Former Biden Chief of Staff Ron Klain was more conciliatory. No shit, he's going on the record. I thought she did a good job as VP, and I feel badly she found the experience negative. Other former Biden aides said he made a mistake picking Harris as VP in the first place, and fumed that Harris was now using Democratic Party resources to sell a book that could divide the party. Would you support Walz running again? I don't fucking know. It's a lesser evil thing. None of these people are captivating. He doesn't have the hate. Yeah, he doesn't have the hate. You need vindictiveness. Who would you like to run? Right now, there is not a single Democrat who I would be even remotely satisfied with. They have all been so weak and so inept and so complicit in this administration that I think that all of them, that none of them deserve it. Mamdani's mayor of New York. I'm talking about viable candidates. He can't even run, yeah. Bashir might be a good candidate. Fuck off. You want to keep this cycle going forever? Whitmer? Yeah, Whitmer, the lady who, right after Trump won, rushed over to the Oval Office to do some photo ops where she ashamedly hid in a corner before discussing, like, policy agenda plans with him. She had the folder to cover her face. Yeah, it was pathetic. Cory Booker, fuck you. Get this shit out of here. None of them are worth it. Andy Bashir? No! Only someone capable of expressing outright contempt towards this administration and everything that it represents is even remotely qualified. You know it's going to be Newsom, right? Yeah, I love how Newsom's been doing this bit about how he's the real Republican-hating anti-MAGA fighter, and then Charlie Kirk died, and he put a fucking op-ed out about how epic and great Charlie Kirk was. That was super great. Yeah. Definitely the warrior we need right now against the onslaught of fascism.